Hello, I'm Kathy Fox Alfano, host of Born TV's Primary 22, Why Should We Vote for You? Today I'm welcoming Shannon Lis-Riordan, Democratic candidate for Attorney General. The primary is on Tuesday, September 6th, yes, the day after Labor Day. Shannon, thank you so much for coming down to Born. We'd really like to get to know you better.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here today.
Great. First, Shannon, tell us, what does the Attorney General do?
The Attorney General is the people's lawyer. The Attorney General fights for the people of Massachusetts. I've effectively been a private Attorney General for more than 2 decades. I've been fighting in the courts for working people. I'm really excited about this race to take my skills and experience to the public sphere and fight for all the people of Massachusetts.
Great. Why would you like to be AG?
I have dedicated my career to taking on big fights and winning big results for regular people. I went to law school knowing that I wanted to get tools that would allow me to try to even the playing field and help those people whose voices really need to be heard. So for the last 23 years, I've been representing working people. I've taken on some of the largest corporations in America, and I've won. Companies like FedEx, Starbucks, Amazon, IBM, my alma mater, Harvard University, which I've sued at least 4 times.
Oh, wow.
And I've put hundreds of millions of dollars back in the pockets of working people that was stolen from them by corporate America. And in the process, I have strengthened and developed our laws here in Massachusetts and around the country to help working people. And I'm looking forward to taking that skill, that experience, and that passion to all of the areas touched by the AG's office, fighting for workers, fighting for consumers, fighting to protect our environment.
Is there anything you do differently with the office?
Well, I mean, there's a lot to do in this office. I see this job as not just one job. This job is really 20 jobs. So luckily, I like multitasking, and I'm good at it.
Good.
On workers' rights, just for starters, I've been representing workers in wage disputes for many years. I know that it can take a long time for people to get their money back when it's been stolen by their employers. It can take weeks or months or even years for an investigation to happen. That's why I plan to set up a fund at the Attorney General's office. So if someone hasn't been paid their proper wages by their employer, I want them to be able to go and get their money back right away while the AG's office goes after those bad employers to collect the penalties to fund this. If you've had your wages stolen, you need to put food on the table tonight. You need to pay rent tomorrow. You can't afford to wait that long. And this is the way our unemployment system works, our workers' comp system. I think wage theft deserves that type of attention. I've got a lot of plans also to how to strengthen the enforcement of our consumer protection laws. I plan to set up an office of the tenant advocate in the AG's office to help keep tenants in their homes. I plan to continue on with a really important litigation Maura Healey's been doing against companies like ExxonMobil, who lied to us for decades about their impact on the environment and worsening climate change. And I want to set up a green bank where we will use penalties that we collect from that kind of high stakes impact litigation that I've been doing my whole career, and use that to help fund environmental justice projects and clean energy projects.
Great. There seems to really be a really clear divide between you and Quentin Palfrey and then Andrea Campbell. You and Quentin have been fighting for the people against the big corporations like Walmart, and Andrea is taking PAC money from them. Especially for Attorney General, I find this is a very important distinction. How will you continue to fight for the people if you are elected?
Well, I will be beholden to the voters. I will not be beholden to wealthy donors. I will not be beholden to corporations. I don't take money from corporations. I fight corporations and I beat them. So I'm really excited about the support I've been getting in this race from people across Massachusetts. I'm really proud to have the support of the Massachusetts AFL-CIO and more than 50 individual unions, including Mass Teachers Association, Mass Nurses Association, Professional Firefighters of Massachusetts, and many others. And together they represent 500,000 working people across Massachusetts.
Wow, that's great. Will you miss out on your successful law practice?
I love the work that I've been doing as a workers' rights and labor lawyer for the last 20 years, and I just feel like this is such an honor and an opportunity to be able to step up and continue and expand on the work I've been doing for decades, but with the power of the state behind me. I have been taking on and winning David and Goliath battles in the courts for decades with my moderate-sized law firm. So imagine what we can get done with the power of the hundreds of attorneys general in that office.
Wow. Are there literally hundreds of people that work for them?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Here in Bourne, we have two very concerning environmental concerns. We are looking both at Holtec, dumping radioactive waste into the Cape Cod Bay, about 1 million gallons. That's on our north side. Then we have the possibility of a wastewater outfall directly into the Cape Cod Canal, which is very near homes and beaches. What can you do to help stop these potential environmental disasters?
Well, there's a lot that the AG's office can do, and that I will do as Attorney General. It is very frightening what Holtec is on the verge of potentially doing. They've said that they're not going to dump anything in 2022, which means come January 1st, 2023, all bets are off. So the AG's office will play a very important role there. As Attorney General, I will not let them do that. I will do everything in my power to stop that from happening. We can get an injunction in court to stop that kind of environmental degradation to our beaches and our communities.
What else are you working on for climate change?
Well, one thing that I have learned in my experience as a workers' rights lawyer is that we have some really great laws on the books here in Massachusetts, and our legislature has now put on the books the next generation roadmap to help get us to where we need to be for reducing emissions and fighting climate change. But I know that laws do not enforce themselves. What we need is a seasoned, effective, aggressive leader in the AG's office who knows how to take on corporations and knows how to hold them accountable. That is what I've been doing for my whole career. I've taken on companies like FedEx, Starbucks, Uber, and I've made them comply with our laws and change their behaviors. So that's what we need in the fight against climate change from the AG's office. We've got the legislature getting the laws out there, but it's not going to do much good if they're just sitting there on paper. We need someone who knows how to lead litigation. I've been leading teams of lawyers and making national headlines for decades. So I'm ready on day one to be in there and be leading the fight. I plan to be a leading AG across the country in our country's fight against climate change.
Great. Housing on the Cape has historically been very difficult. Now it's crazy. And I'm not talking about just getting a beach house for the summer. I'm talking about teachers and people in the service industry, even medical people can't find affordable housing. I'm a realtor. I work with Jack Conway. I knew what this is about. It's awful. And it will affect everybody in the community if we don't have these people in our community. What can the Attorney General do to help us alleviate this crisis?
This is an issue that has been top of mind for folks all across Massachusetts. As I've been campaigning these last 8 months, this is a top issue that I've been hearing from people. The price of everything is just going through the roof. Supporting a family, getting by, and paying for the cost of housing is just so out of reach for so many people. That's why, as the Attorney General, I plan to take some new creative measures to help folks stay in their homes. For instance, I plan to set up an office of the tenant advocate that would help tenants who are having issues with their landlords. Right now, our housing courts are really running like eviction mills. The landlords all have representation, the tenants don't. So I want to provide support and representation for tenants, help get them to access support and benefits that may help them pay the rent. And we can be mediating disputes between tenants and landlords that'll help people stay in their homes. So it's a really high priority. And in terms of being able to afford a place to live and have money in people's pockets that will allow them to support themselves and their families, what better way as a start than have the Attorney General make sure that working people get every penny in their pockets that's owed to them by their employers. That's what I've been doing for decades. That's what I know how to do. And we need to be supporting building affordable housing. I mean, the reason that we're having this crisis is because we just don't have enough housing, and that's just sending the market crazy. So I will use the bully pulpit of the AG's office to advocate for expansion of affordable housing.
Would you help like each town sort of be able to build workforce housing and that sort of thing. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, and there needs to be a lot of concentration around transit.
Yes.
We need north-south rail just like we need west-east rail, and we need to be investing in our transportation system so that people can get to jobs and may have the ability to live places where it might be a little more affordable, but then be able to get to the economic opportunities that may be closer to the cities.
Can you help at all with the building of the Cape Cod Canal bridges?
Well, yeah, no, infrastructure is a huge deal.
Here,
yeah.
of course, both bridges are in Bourne. Mm-hmm. We're very concerned about both, not just the construction, but also the design of the access roads and how that's going to interfere with people's daily lives.
Right.
Not to mention taking homes by eminent domain. I mean, it's a really big issue. And right now, I don't feel like Bourne has a seat at the table. I'm not sure the table exists yet. What can you do about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot that needs to, people need to be able to access, people need to be able to come to the Cape, people need to be able to get to and from homes without sitting in traffic forever,
right.
Which is just spewing more pollutants into our atmosphere. So yeah, no, I plan to be an active Attorney General working with the legislature and using the bully pulpit to try to make differences in these areas that can really affect people's lives.
Have you ever held elective office at all?
I have not. I've not. So it's an important point. I'm not running for the seat as a politician. I'm not a politician. I'm not a bureaucrat. I'm a lawyer. I have been fighting in the courts for years. I have been widely acclaimed as one of the top employment lawyers in the country. I'm the only candidate in this race who is an actual practicing lawyer. And I'm the only candidate who has run a law firm. This is a job, a really serious, important job that calls for a seasoned, experienced litigator. I'm your candidate. If you expect that the Attorney General's office should be an office where we can really make a difference in people's lives using the legal system to fight to expand our laws, increasing worker protection, consumer protection, and holding corporations accountable and getting money back into people's pockets.
You started to talk about consumer protection. What can you do about that?
Well, there's a lot. That's a lot of the bread and butter issues of the AG's office. Is that there are all of these bad actor corporations out there who are scamming consumers. There are internet scams. There are scams out there to prey on seniors. There are student loan companies that are engaged in predatory lending practices and debt collection practices. All of these are the types of issues that the Attorney General's office can do something about, and I will proactively take on these bad actor corporations. One thing that I've been hearing a lot from folks across Massachusetts is that the AG's office needs to be accessible to take your complaints, to hear what issues are out there that we need to be investigating and then taking legal action to do something about. So we have a few outposts of the AG's office now. The main headquarters, of course, is in Boston, but there are outposts in Springfield, Worcester, and New Bedford. I would definitely keep those outposts and look into whether we should open more outposts so that some body will be there. If you've got a complaint, if you've been taken advantage of by a company and you want to voice your complaint, you either can be able to call and I will make sure that there is adequate staffing to make sure there's someone on the other end of the line who will take that call, and we will either open an investigation or get you to resources that may be able to help. And people should be able to walk in and bring their complaints. And I've been doing this for a long time, running my own law office where we have a staff of paralegals who take calls from people. We got thousands of calls from workers who've had their wages stolen or have suffered discrimination at work. And we figure out which cases we can do something about and take action on, which cases to try to help refer someone to somewhere else. So I have that experience, and that is what we need for this job.
Right. We have a lot of seniors living here, a lot of people retiring to the Cape or whatever, and we have so many scams, on the internet or on phone or whatever, with these unscrupulous predators who just feast on seniors who are unsuspecting and whatever. How can you help specifically about seniors?
Yeah, well, we can go after those bad actor corporations who are taking advantage of that, who are preying on the vulnerabilities of our seniors, and others who are vulnerable to scams. We can investigate. We can take those on. We'll take them to court, use our consumer protection law to seek triple damages against these companies. Again, that's the kind of work I've been doing. I've been doing class action litigation, high stakes impact litigation for years, and I know how to make that work and use our court system to get results for people.
That's great. So Shannon, tell me, why should we vote for you?
You should vote for me because I am far and away the most qualified, the most experienced candidate in this race. This job of Attorney General, it's leading the people's law firm. So think about it. If you were hiring a lawyer, who would you hire as your lawyer? Wouldn't you want someone who has the most experience, the most knowledge, the best track record of getting results? I've been litigating for decades in courts in Massachusetts and around the country. I have won 7 landmark cases at the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court expanding workers' rights. I've gotten hundreds of millions of dollars back in working people's pockets. I've taken on companies, hospitality employers who've stolen tips from their employees. I've taken on companies that have misclassified workers as independent contractors and are trying to undermine our entire employment system. I have led the national conversation on going after these companies that are trying to undercut all of our labor and employment protections through the gig economy. I've seen a lot. I have by far the most experience. I would be so honored to have the privilege to serve as Massachusetts' next Attorney General. So I would be honored and humbled to have your vote and those of your viewers.
Great. Thank you so much, Shannon. And best of luck to you in the upcoming primary, which is September 6th. Yes, the day after Labor Day.
Thank you.
You've been
so
watching
much.
this, of course.
Thank you so much for having me.
You've been watching this on Born TV. This and my other interviews can be seen on borntv.com. Please watch, meet all the candidates, and then you be the judge and get out and vote.